There is science to show that vision boards actually help you to create the reality that you want, if you create them in the right way. In this video, I want to show you exactly what that science is and how you can use it to create your wildest dreams. I've taken myself from 20K in debt and being severely socially anxious and not being able to have a conversation with more than 2 people in front of me, to having a multi-million-dollar network, no social anxiety, having owned a 7-figure company and currently owning an app where I speak like this to camera all the time without any anxiety. Vision boards have become such an anchor for me, not because they magically create everything that I want, but because they give me direction. So let me take you through some of the science as to why this is going to work. Number 1, there was a psychologist called Edwin Locke who basically studied goal-setting theory and figured out that when people actually created vision boards, it, number 1, increased their confidence, and number 2, that when you created very specific goals, it led to a much higher level of performance. He basically realized that there was a process that we all went through. So we all start with a load of personal values, but a lot of people don't do anything with them from that point. These personal values then create emotions and desires. When we don't do anything with these emotions and desires, this can create a pent-up feeling of feeling like you have a lot that you want to do, but never actually fulfilling it because you don't have clarity or specificity. When you put this into very specific goals, this then allows you to take much clearer action. When you take more action, it's going to improve your overall performance, and that is going to lead to better overall outcomes and consequences. So for example, if you want to set up a business and you have a very clear goal of launching a podcast, that is then going to inform the actions that you're taking to create that podcast. Once you have that clarity, it's going to enhance your performance. Therefore, the outcome of all of those actions and performances is going to be, you're going to have launched a podcast that is probably going to be far better if you never set that initial goal. There were a couple of other studies that showed that when you actually get consistent feedback on this loop, it actually improves your ability to achieve your goals. Obviously, this really depends on you being able to have like a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. If anyone feels like getting feedback is a personal attack on you, you are missing a trick. And I really recommend reading the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. She talks a lot about the fixed mindset and how to move into a growth mindset. For anyone that has like a fear of failure, a fear of judgment, you may well also have this. I definitely did back in the day, and learning about this really changed my life, and it allowed me to get feedback much more often so I can improve my own performance and then actually get to my goals faster. So something for you to look into. The second thing is they force us to visualize something, which is really important because there have been studies that show that we don't actually know the difference between what is real and what we're actually vividly imagining. There was a study done by Ranganathan et al. In 2004, which took 3 sets of people and got them to do strength training in different ways. One group was going to the gym, one group was just visualizing. They found that even the people that were just doing the visualization also built muscle mass. This shows that your brain does not know the difference between what you imagine vividly and what you're actually doing in reality. Your body responds the same way. So the more that you actually visualize something every single day, the more your body actually believes that you're doing it. So if one of your goals is to public speak and you imagine yourself doing that every single day and seeing a picture of you doing it, it is going to give your body the sensation of already doing it, and you are going to become far more comfortable. And the final thing I'll say on this is that when you look at your desired future every single day, your brain will actually start to create feel-good hormones like dopamine. This is actually the motivation molecule of our entire brain. It makes us feel more motivated, and just looking at photos is going to produce more of it. The third thing that vision boards are going to do is allows your brain to go into value tagging and priming. There was a study that was done by someone called Gauthier, and they found that the brain can actually assign value to an object in under 1/10 of a second. But we can actually start to prime what our brain assigns value to by looking at them all the time through repetition, because when we are repeatedly looking at something, we will boost our own motivation. This then goes on to affect our reticular activating system. I've spoken about this at length before, but basically we are getting millions and millions of bits of information from our eyes, from our ears, from all of our senses. And the reticular activating system is a bundle of nerves that sit in the brainstem. These act as like a filter for all of that information that we are gathering. So all of that information basically travels through the brainstem and then allows us to focus on between like 50 and 150 bits of information. That is it out of the millions that we are understanding. But that isn't fixed. We can actually train our reticular activating system to focus on more of what we want and less of what we don't. And the way that we do that is by priming our conscious and subconscious mind by what we're looking at every single day, what we're saying to ourselves. So by having a vision board, you are priming that reticular activating system to seek out more of the things that you want and less of what you don't. So if you have something on your board, like a new car, you are going to start to see opportunities for that new car to come to you far more than you would have if you weren't seeing it every single day. If you want to get an opportunity to go on a big podcast, you're going to start to connect with opportunities that bring that to you far more than if you weren't thinking about it at all. This is a constant reminder that you look at all the time that allows your brain to prioritize these things as important. You start to assign value to them, which will bring them to you much faster. So I'm going to show you exactly how I create my vision board so that you can go and create your own, because there is a specific way that I recommend doing it for the most effectiveness. Let's go. There are some things with vision boards that I really don't like and don't agree with. For example, I don't usually do my vision board until midway through January, which is where we are right now. Reason for that being, so many things change in January. I don't have clarity at the beginning of the year. Like, you're still celebrating, you're still amongst family. Your energy can actually be quite chaotic around that time, and it actually takes a little bit of time for things to settle. Not only that, but the whole of January is Capricorn. And that means that we have a month of this Capricorn energy, which is about building, it's about crafting things, it's about building momentum, business acumen. It's a really good, great manifestation sign. It's about bringing like the ethereal into the 3D reality. And we have the whole of January to do that. So I don't like rushing vision boards. I like to really take my time with them. So one of the first things that I do is I go with a trusty notebook to start with. I usually always get a brand new manifestation journal. The first thing I do is actually write down what I want my key goals to be in different areas. So this year, I've chosen social and community, health, fulfillment, wealth, personal growth, relationship, and business and career. And a lot of mine this year is business and career, so there's a lot more in those. So I've then gone into each of them and I've specified how I want to feel, and then also what are some of the things that I would love to have achieved or have done or have focused on at least by the end of 2026. One of the things you really want to remember with a vision board is it's so much less to do with the outcomes and so much more about how you want to be feeling. Because remember, we don't actually manifest back to front. So everyone is looking at the thing that you want first, which is actually not the thing in the manifestation world scientifically that comes first. The thing that actually comes first is how we feel, which will then actually attract in the things that we want. We want to be thinking about those things that we want, but more than that, we want to actually go past that and think about how do those things make us feel? Because when we can achieve the feeling first, we're then going to become an emotional, vibrational match for the things that we want to attract in the long run. So this board really is more about creating something that makes you feel a certain way, that reminds you of how you may feel in the future, not just about the very tangible outcomes. In fact, I would probably say like the outcomes are the things that come last. So you want to think about, as you're making this list, like what are some of the actions that you would like to be taking? Like actions are a really important part of manifestation. What are some of the feelings that you would have liked to have experienced this year? And by the end of 2026, what are some of the things that you would have loved to have experienced? What are some of the things that you would have loved to have done? And the thing that actually matters less is the result and the outcome. Because when you focus just on the result and the outcome, you're going to create expectation. And that's actually just going to rob you of the joy of the entire journey of 2026. Focus on the feelings and the actions first, and the outcomes then come later. So after I create this, I then go onto Pinterest. And for each section, I will group certain things together and I will create separate Pinterest boards. And then I will find images that represent the feelings that I want to create and the actions that I want to take, more so than the actual outcomes that I want to achieve. When you look at it, these images are going to have a very different representation to you than they do to me, because we each have a different internal filtering system, the RAS. We each are filtering reality to experience it in a different way. And that includes like how we interpret images. So how you interpret my images is not going to be how I will interpret your images, and vice versa. This is why it's very important that you don't just see my images and think, this is great for me as well. But instead, you want to really think about, what's symbolic or metaphoric, or create some sort of synergy between me and this image and a feeling that I want to create. So if we go into like fulfillment, for example, and like how I want to feel fulfilled this year, there's a lot of different things in here, which is, again, it's about feelings. Like I want to feel free. I've taken up skateboarding and surfing. So there's a lot of like being in the water, being in nature, this feeling of freedom, which I really get when I'm doing a hobby. And this really comes back to one of the principles of In All, which is following your passion, following your purpose, doing the thing that lights you up the most. Because when you do that, the universe will move mountains for you. It's one of like the greatest manifestation hacks that you can give yourself is just follow your passion, follow your purpose, and everything else will follow. There are a couple of things that I have as like more spiritual experiences. Like I would love to explore out of body experiences this year and see where that takes me. I want to get my Australian citizenship because again, that's going to help me with a lot of the other things that I'm wanting to create. For example, like a sense of security and freedom, which is just being even more grounded in the country that I want to stay in, that supports all of this other stuff, right? Like for me to continue living my life where I'm surfing and skating in the climate that I'm in, having Australian citizenship is like the ultimate thing that I could get to, not just permanent residency. If we go into like social and community, some of this is very personal and like having dinner parties, nurturing friendships, getting even deeper into like soul connections with friends. But then some of it is business related, hosting retreats or hosting events and actually seeing the power of the breath and the nervous system and manifestation, consciousness and metaphysics in person, like where you can see and physically feel the shift in vibration in a room that happens. There is nothing more fulfilling than that for me. So I've got some of that on my board. Health is a lot about what I'm fueling my body with and how I'm prioritizing food. I'm on an autoimmune diet or an anti-inflammatory diet, and that's for personal reasons. I have endometriosis. I manage that by the food that I eat, and I just want to really ensure that I'm feeling really healthy. I'm going to the gym regularly, which is often something that can fall off for me, that I'm prioritizing getting into nature and doing some of the activities that I have my daily devotional practice. I'm doing it in nature with my feet in the sand just before I go into the ocean for a dip, like the power of like salt water for the healing of our bodies and the incredible benefits that it can give us. Business is definitely my biggest board, but a lot of this is they're little reminders for me of this is how you're going to be showing up on social media. These are some of the things that you want to focus on. This is what you want to do less of. And even for my app and the app that I have, the Breathwork app, is I really want to focus on creating incredible experiences for people, focusing on the members that we do have instead of consistently just focusing on getting new customers and really creating something that people don't want to leave because it supports their life in so many different ways. Viral growth and finding content that really works. We do have a couple of like outlandish goals in here. This is where, you know, the universe really can just come in and surprise you. And one of the things that if you're ever feeling doubtful of some of the things that you're putting on your vision board, you should make a list of all of the things that could happen, all of the magic that could occur in the universe that could create that result for you. This isn't about becoming like completely detached from reality. And it's got to still be something that is within the realms of possibility. Like I'm currently at almost 80,000 followers. It's not out of your minds of reality to envision that you could grow 120,000 followers within a year. There's lots of things that could happen there. So that feels realistic to me, but it's still a stretch. And then the rest of it, it's the actions that I have to take to make that. Okay, like I'm doing right now, I've got pictures of people vlogging, of people actually doing the actions that creating those results would require me to do. And that's a really big part of these boards is like a lot of this is about the action. It's about how you want to remind yourself to be showing up. So there's a very specific type of content, which is educator content, which I know always does really well for me. When I try to go too much into inspirational content, it just doesn't land as well. So there are a couple of people like my friend Dana, she's a brilliant educator on plasma. Jordan Crowder, he's a brilliant educator in like metaphysics, consciousness and stuff. These are the kind of creators that like, I just want to remind myself that this is the kind of content I should be doing. And when you remind yourself, that pushes you back into aligned action because it's what naturally I want to be doing anyway. But sometimes your ego conscious mind can come online and is, oh, we should be doing this because this is what other people are doing. This is what works for this person. This is what works for this person. So having these little pulls and reminders on your vision board of what will keep you true to you, What can you keep on coming back to? Now what I'm going to be doing is creating a Google document, and I'm going to basically just take screenshots of all of the photos that resonate the most and go into Canva and just create anything that I don't currently have. So one of the things that I am looking to do this year is impact over 1,000 people with the in-all membership. So I want to have 1,000 as just like that is like an external, I guess, numeric number. But I also know that I'm the kind of person that if I don't hit that, it's not going to like completely tank me. And that's something that you want to like really reflect on yourself. Are you the kind of person that if you don't achieve that, will it send you into a spiral of I'm a failure? In which case I wouldn't put any like tangible numbers or outcomes on the board. I would keep it more feeling based. For virality, something that I can specifically look at that is very tailored to me. So editing a current screenshot of my Instagram profile and changing the numbers that are on all of them to show like virality for every single one, for example. And that's something that when you look at someone else's profile, it gives you the same feeling, but when it's your own face paired with numbers, there's something very different that happens. It's like a subconscious cue to your body that, oh, we've already done this. And that's ultimately what we're trying to create with this as well. So you may want to go into Canva and just create some of those things for yourself. My next stage is going to be now going to Officeworks and printing all of this off. Success. I have now got all of my things to go back and make my vision board with. If anyone has been feeling a little bit overwhelmed, sometimes just knowing what you're working towards can completely change everything. I came back from a really busy family weekend where we were all going to a wedding, and my energy very quickly as an empath becomes quite fragmented amongst other people's energy. So I've been doing breath work all morning. I've been doing my authority activating script, and I just wanted like to look at exactly what it is that I was working towards. So let's get back and create. Finally done. This is what it looks like. Basically, I've just really taken probably close to like an hour just rearranging everything. I didn't pin down everything to start with, but a lot of it is like very feeling based. You know, I've used a lot of these kind of background shots to just create literally the background, because again, like some of these things don't need to be like super obvious. They can be like subtle things that your subconscious mind can just kind of gloss over. So sometimes using, you know, I've got some of these with like viral stats on them, for example. Like those things don't necessarily need to be front and center. Even just having them as the background can just be enough for your subconscious mind to be like, click, I'm going to start to attract those kinds of things into my field. I've divided this up into different areas. So I've got like my passion and the things that really bring me to life over here. I've got like health and wellness over here. This is more business and like money and career and everything. So I've kind of divided the board into that. There's definitely some things that I just left for my Pinterest board because there's just too much to put. You can't put everything on here, and that's why I like to have the Pinterest board separate to this, because the Pinterest board really gives like a very broad view of all of the areas that you go into when you're doing this. I'm now going to pop this somewhere that I see it all the time, which is usually just up here. Whenever I'm doing like my breath flows, it's usually the first thing I look at when I open my eyes. There it is, up there. So that will now just be something that I can return to again and again, look at. It creates a subconscious imprint. It's priming my reticular activating system. It's going to be changing my filter. It's something that I can instantly look at and tune into the emotions of, which is where science and vision boards and something as simple as putting pictures onto a board can like dramatically increase your life, and that is science proven. Allow your creative mind to be inspired by creating a vision board. Take the time to actually cut everything out and really feel the emotions of what that future feels like as you're doing it. Just that in itself, creating the time to set the intention, set your direction, and taking time to make it look beautiful, something that you want to look at and that you can hang in your house, your bedroom, in your bathroom, wherever it is, the benefits that that can have is absolutely huge. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Please make sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed it. We're going to be bringing out new videos as often as we possibly can. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.